welcome. My name is Mike Koplitz. I'm a certified USCF chess coach. And welcome to my chess room and to this video series, which will be based on the book, The 64 Things You Need to Know in Chess. Always recommend that you do get the book. The book's sitting here over the side, so I might glance at it once in a while to make sure I'm in the right place. This is lesson 1. It's basic king and queen mate. You really need to start at the basics, because you will come down to games in the beginning of your chess career where you will just have a queen versus a king, and you need to know how to mate. I'm also a tournament director and have seen several times where chess players don't know how to mate. With a queen, we'll go over how to mate with 1 rook and 2 rooks and bishops, and we'll even look at the knight and bishop checkmate. Now, getting started here, we just put the pieces on the board. It doesn't matter where you start. The principle is the same, and I suggest then that you practice these principles. First thing to do is you look at your queen and you see that your queen forms a box. Now you want to draw that box so that the king is inside the box. Now I do realize the green line goes through the king, but the king is inside of the box because this is the edge of the board. And what you're going to do is, move after move, is you want to reduce the size of the box wherever possible. So if I had the ability, I would make the box smaller, and then eventually so small that the king is trapped. Now, I have to remove all these lines quickly. Now, one of the concepts here all right, let me put the king there for a second. One of the concepts to understand is that you're going to try to also push the king at the same time. In other words, as you're making that box smaller, you want to keep pushing the king toward the back rank. So if this was the king to move and you're black, you want to come toward the center of the board as such. And then what white wants to do is to cut the size of the box down, pushing you backward at the same time. So white would bring his queen or her queen right there. Because now the black king, if I draw this, is limited to these 2 ranks. So now the black king is going to move. We'll move the black king. Now the white queen cannot just keep moving across the board like this, because notice nothing's going to happen. King is just going to move away from the queen. If the queen decides, oh, I'll just come and check, and you see this an awful lot, well, then the king just simply escapes. And you cannot checkmate a king with just a queen. You need your king in the action. So let's go ahead and start to do that. At this point, the king has these 3 ranks that he can move in without any problem. So you need to bring your king, the white king, in this case with the white queen, has to come into the action. If you're black, you want to stay in the center of the board as much as you can. Now, when the kings are opposing each other, that's easy. You just simply bring your queen in front of the king. The king now has to go to one of 2 squares. And notice that these 2 squares push the king backward to the back rank. Again, trying to stay in the center of the board if you can as black. Now the white queen's got to move. And the best move for her is to this square, because now it's like a barrier's been put up. The black king cannot cross this rank at this point. There are only 2 ranks left to him. Of course, he's going to want to get away, and you have to bring your king toward his king. And again, he's going to run away. And you're going to chase him, and he's going to run away again, and you're going to chase him. And now you're opposing each other, and the queen comes in and does her thing. Again, black only has 2 squares to go to. And you have to be careful here, because stalemate can happen. And we're in a position of stalemate. So if you're black, you're going to lose anyway. But you can get a half a point if you're in a tournament and cause a stalemate by going to h8 in this case. Because if white isn't thinking and moves his king here to the f6 square, you will notice the black king cannot move. That's called stalemate. Also, you have to be careful, because if the white queen, let me put her back. If the white queen were to move, in this case, to f7, stalemate again. So the white queen's got to move somewhere. And probably right about here is a good spot. Again, the king's going to come out. King's probably going to come out of the corner. If I was the king, I'd come out of the corner. And this time I would move the king. Let me show you how to prevent the stalemate, because now he's going to come, he may come backward. And now you're going to bring the queen across. And the king's going to go back. Notice you still have a stalemate situation. So once he's in the corner, you just have to be a little bit more careful about things. But I want to show you this while I've got it. Notice that I'm going to show you how to get out of the stalemate. Here's what I'm doing. What we've been doing is going in this direction, cutting off, right, these ranks. But notice that if you turn the board and start thinking differently, let me get rid of these for you. Whoops. Get rid of this last one. And I'll put this one in yellow so you can see it differently. Right now, you have the black king stuck on the H file because of your queen. And because he's in the corner, you have to shift the way you're thinking and trap him on this H file. These are files and these are ranks. So the best thing for you to do at this point is to get your queen out of the way. And it doesn't matter where you're going to put her on the G file. I'll put her there for a moment. And now the king has to move down the H rank, and you're going to get in front of him again. Or in this case, side by side. Now, if the black king moves here to H6, that's easy. Checkmate. If the black king goes to the corner, checkmate. So he doesn't have a whole lot of choice here. But the thing you have to be, again, very careful of is that you don't do this stalemate to him. So I recommend in a king and queen situation, and we can go back to the beginning, We get a new board up here and we'll go back to where we were. That the idea here is black. If you're playing black, you're going to want to head eventually toward the corner and hope, in hopes that your opponent is so set on doing these rank cutoffs that eventually you find yourself stalemated in the corner. Now let me get rid of these lines for a second and move the king. And here we go again. King comes to the center. I'm going to do it again for you. You've cut him off. There's the cutoff. Now let's just say the king isn't going to go to the corner, because some of your opponents may not go to the corner. So your king's going to get involved. And I'm just going to give it the opportunity. Notice also you can bring your queen in this way, because the king does protect the queen. And the king's we're gonna keep the king in the center, not chasing the corner. Okay, so we're gonna cut the rank off. There we go again. See now, king is cut off. Gonna go a little further. And again, bring your queen over. He's got to go one or two places. He's either going here or there. Let's just put him this way because he doesn't think about the corner. So you have to be a little bit more careful. But notice now, you can cut him off. And that takes care of that back rank. Now you don't have to worry about stalemate quite as much. Of course, the king's going to have to go away from the queen. And you're going to come toward him. And checkmate. So, what I'm saying is, if you happen to be black, you want to get your king to the corner of the board. If your opponent's pushing you back properly, because you will play some opponents that don't know how to checkmate with a king and queen, and they have to do it in 50 moves. So you need to be counting 50 moves. If you're in a tournament, you need to get a tournament director over so they can count the 50 moves. And yes, I have seen draws occur because the 50 move count. So I'm suggesting let them push you back. If that tells you they know how to do it, and then head as fast as you can to the corner. And maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get a stalemate. This is Mike Coplet signing off. I hope you find this video of value. Tell your friends about it. Like to get lots of views on it. We'll be going through 64 of these things you need to know, so that we're going to be going over some pretty heavy-duty stuff later on. All right, good luck and happy chess.